Okay, so it's been quite a while since we've done anything with this hive. We've been super busy with so many different things, and sometimes it can be hard to remember to do the pupae harvesting, to do all the steps the way you're supposed to do them. We haven't even really been feeding them, so I haven't even looked in here in a while, and I'm about to look with you guys what all the drawers look like in this case. You'll notice one of them is out because it's the empty one, and I was just going to clean it later, so I took it out. I didn't want to waste power by having it heated or cleaned out by the filtration system. So I'm going to put this down here, and let's see. This is our newest generation. As you can see, we've got some pretty big ones. These are the ones that we actually raised from eggs. It'll get bigger and bigger with newer generations. I think we had some problems with the inlet tray at the beginning, but as you can see, it's successful. Theoretically, in about a week or two, these will be edible. So, check that one. I'm just going to take them all out one by one, and then I'm going to probably spend like a good hour kind of cleaning these and redoing everything. Wow. So, hang on, I'll show you. Look at all the pupae in that one. There's even beetles in here. So they hatched into beetles in the tray, and I've been told that's a bad idea because the beetles kind of like to munch on the pupae, and the worms like to munch on the pupae. You should always keep them separate. So I got a lot of work to do separating those out. All right, that's drawer number 2. Take out drawer number 3. Also, tons and tons of pupae. Not as many beetles. So, got a lot of cleaning to do, a lot of harvesting to do. That's drawer number 3, and number 4 and 5 are a little bit different because obviously this is the beetle inlet tray. Let's see how our beetles are doing. Well, there are no pupae left. All of them have grown into beetles, and if you listen carefully, you can hear them crawling around. They are hungry beetles. I really need to feed them. Okay, let's see what's next. The last one. Okay, I got some explaining to do for this one. I was too busy to use like a strainer to sift out all the frass and debris. You're supposed to do that before you do any of the pupae harvesting or the worm harvesting. I was just trying to clean it by putting in, by using this metal tray. I was trying to clean it. What I usually do is I sift it out so that there's not this much debris. And I then dump what's left into the harvesting area. It vibrates, all the worms go through, the pupae stay out, and theoretically this plate heats up and the living worms all crawl away from the heat over the edge into this tray down here. So that worked, to an extent. As you can see, this one's relatively clean, but it's been a week or so since I did this. There's a lot of pupae in there too. But this is the bad thing. There's still some living worms in there, and it's really hard to sift them out from all the dead ones. So that's one thing that I'm going to have to ask about from Livin Farms, because I've been having a lot of trouble with that. If you sift it out first, it does do some of the get rid of some of the debris, but honestly I don't know what to do about all the dead worms. Should I just chuck this out and you're only losing a few worms? Maybe they'd still live in the wild. I don't know. You don't want any infestation in your garbage, so this is something that I'm gonna have to ask them about, is specifically how to sift it when you've had this much debris and dead worms. Because right now they're not crawling out of there when it heats up. I don't really want to go in there with a spoon because it's hard to tell which ones are alive and which ones are dead, so we'll have to ask them about that. But otherwise, this is what happens if you wait 2 or 3 weeks without doing pretty much anything. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, I don't want to go in with a spoon and take out each of the pupae. So one by one, I'm just going to do the pupae harvesting with the bowl. I'm not going to worry about debris right now. You just use this one instead, and you put it in top of the harvesting tray. It shakes, all the debris and all the worms fall through, and the pupae stay above because they're too big to fit through the holes. So you will end up with all your debris and worms here, and then you will have just your pupae in the top, and you can put them in the beetle inlet tray. That's what I'm going to do first before I worry about cleaning. So I'll check in on you guys later, and thanks for watching. Alright, so that first tray I've completely emptied and wiped out. Don't use soap, it's bad for them. Just rinse it out and wipe it down with a towel. And there they are right there. Every once in a while it's going to vibrate. And all the worms will go down and the pupae will stay on top. I'm just going to do this with the tray one by one. This should only take like, I don't know, maximum 10 minutes for them all to go through. Maybe a little longer depending on how many worms you have. But yeah, it's going to be a while. It's better to do this like incrementally while you're watching TV, cleaning the house, doing chores and stuff. It's not like you want to just sit here and do this. It would be very boring. So it's designed to do this all on its own. So this is what I'll be doing with each of the 4 trays. Then I'll clean out all the dead beetles and pupae from the beetle tray, and I'll put all the pupae into the top part of the beetle inlet tray. And hopefully we'll have a more functioning hive in a little while. Just want to show you guys one more crazy shot. I just took the pupae part out of the beetle inlet tray. It was a good chance to clean this out because there's no pupae in there right now. It's only beetles. And just check out the tray with only beetles in it. Hang on a second. I'm actually going to put the camera inside. Let's see what happens. It's pretty crazy. And we're about to add a bunch more pupae, so they'll continue to grow. One more question for Livin Farms. There's a lot of dead beetles in here. How do I get them all out? Do they just decompose and I let that happen? Do they eat each other? Like, I'm not sure. There's not that many, but it's really hard to tell which ones are dead. So am I supposed to go in there and take out each individual dead one, or is there an easier process for that? That would be great to know. Maybe I can also do the plate technique with only beetles, and theoretically the living ones will climb over the edge. I'm not sure. Another thing you can do, you might as well, while you're doing all this, is to create the tray of your next generation. As you can see, the beetles have a little... Wow, they're going crazy down there. You can see the beetles have little holes, and there's a perforation under their tray, and that inlet can just be moved. So I've got a brand new clean tray right here, and I'm going to take this very, very carefully, and I'm just going to move it right over to the new tray. That way any new eggs that are kind of trapped in there are still going to fall through into the new tray. And here I've got, well, first of all, a bunch of beetle poop, but theoretically a bunch of eggs in there, and I can leave that in there in the hive until they hatch. Actually, if you look carefully, well, there's one beetle there, I'll get him in a minute, you can see there's tiny, tiny little worms in there. And I don't know how close up you can see on this, but so if I put a little bit of fresh fruit in there, they should be able to grow up big and strong. Whew, so I'm finally done sifting through each of the pupae, and let's see how much we have in all the 4 trays that I cleaned out. So that's quite a few. I would say that's, I don't know, 50 maybe 100. It's really hard to count. But I gave the beetles down there some oats. These guys have a nice and clean place to hatch into beetles. And the way it's supposed to work is they crawl down these little indentations once they hatch. Usually doesn't work out that way. They tend to just hang out in here. So check every couple of days and put the beetles in there. And the only other thing that I could do right now, but I don't have time for, is to just go through the actual worm harvesting process to clean it out in every single tray. It's not really necessary unless you're about to eat them. So as long as there's most of the debris is out, Look at my trash can here. It's just full of frass. I went through each tray and used this sifter to sift out the bulk of it. So it should be good for a little while. As long as you maintain it better than we do, you don't have to spend like a full hour like I just did. Anyway, thanks for watching, and for more tips on how to use the Hive, whether you have your own or you're just interested to see how it works, subscribe to the Travel Bug Bite, and we'll do more on Mealworm Mondays.